So Andrew Ward said that he's staying retired because he thinks that he's going to keep his word about staying retired from boxing. And even though I pick him to win against Canelo any day, any time, when they if he were to face him, I want to say I'm glad. I'm glad he's being a man about it. I'm glad he's staying retired because there's all these tricks to get you back into the boxing game, to rope you back in, and all of a sudden you can't come back out. And there's always somebody new. There's always someone they'll bring up from it out of the corners or whatever to face Andre Ward. But I'm glad he's staying retired. I hope Floyd Mayweather also stays retired. I hope that he doesn't try to get back into the game. You know, once you're retired, stay retired, man. A lot you can do for the boxing world and the boxing game in other avenues. And I think Andre Ward has made the wisest decision not to let people rope him back in because this is what the haters really wanted to do. They wanted either Andre Ward to lose or Canelo to lose. Those haters don't care about Canelo or no Andre Ward. To them, that's a great fight because they know at least one of those guys would lose, so they get to rejoice. And the haters don't like Andre Ward and they don't like Canelo. And it's Canelo's time now. So let him shine in the sun for how long, ever long, he'll be able to shine for. And I think that's a smart move by Andrew Ward on his part. He left the game on top. He left the game pound for pound number one, which he strove to be pound for pound number one. He left the game with a lot of respect. A lot of people, he came out of the game when he wanted to come out of the game. The game didn't retire him. He retired the game. He's right now in the game now as a commentator, as a mentor, and a manager. And I think Andrew Ward has a lot to offer the game, aside from fighting in the game. That era and that time and that place is over. I think Floyd Mayweather as well. I think his time and place is over as a boxer, but I think his time and place as a promoter, as an entrepreneur, as a trainer, I think that is invaluable. I think he's training athletes to fight in China. I think that he's a great promoter. I think his promotional company is doing a great job. I think he's a great businessman. I think he's doing a great job with that. And there comes a time in your life when you outgrow certain things and you need to move on to higher levels and higher stages. You know, the platform of boxing helped Floyd Mayweather get where he is. It helped Andre Ward get where he is. And now, if these guys are true to the game, they're gonna take it to the next level, where they don't have to go back to the into the ring to box now, but they can be assets to the game and assets to people in the game, and also more importantly, both of them can be uh, idols or icons or mentors or points of destination for other people to see that you don't have to let the game retire. You don't have to get punch drunk. You don't have to get damaged. Your story doesn't have to be a tragedy. You can leave the game with money in your hand and keep that money in your hand. You don't have to return back to the game. And these guys are great role models for some of the younger boxers to see that you can go through the game. You can leave the game optimally, you know, undefeated or with few losses, all your health intact, all your capacities intact. You got money in the bank, so you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to let the game retire like how Bernard Hopkins had to be knocked out of the game. He didn't have to go. He didn't have to go that way, but that's what he did. The only time he gave up was when he got knocked out the ring. You know, and still wants to fight Roy Jones Jr. Don't have to go Roy Jones Jr. way where you getting punched drunk and knocked out cold all the time. And you got to deal with those injuries later on in your life. You can give to the game. You don't have to leave with your voice slurring and your mouth slurring and you have that boxer's talk. You don't have to sound like that. You don't have to be like Muhammad Ali, where you know the rest of your life you're a vegetable. You can leave the game sharp, alert, great presence of mind, an asset to your family, your friends, and your community. So I think that Andrew Ward is doing the right thing. And just because he's a mentor to so many younger boxers coming up, that people can look at Andrew Ward and say, that guy, he was a man of God, he was a principled guy, and he did everything to the best of his ability. He left no stone unturned. And when he decided to retire from the sport of boxing, he had accomplished everything he wanted to do. And you can do the same. I can accomplish everything I want to do and leave the sport of boxing and never have to come back to the actual ring to actually box in the ring. I can do other things in sport of boxing and still be relevant, effective, etc. Andrew Ward showed us the right way to do it, especially as a Christian. And then Floyd Mayweather had a different kind of pathway, but there's things you can take from it. You can take from Floyd Mayweather's ways. You know, he always treated his body well. He always stayed in shape. He always kept his body, kept himself in order. He never had to get into shape. He always stayed in shape. Wish Gervonta Davis could realize that. He had high standards, but he paid his dues in the sport of boxing, and that's why he was able to get into a position where he could control the sport. Even now, Floyd Mayweather's Mayweather Promotions is a very reputable company. You know, they grew up under Golden Boy, working with Golden Boy. Now they got their own promotional company. They got their own thing going on. And more importantly, we see that Floyd Mayweather, he doesn't have all the say and control in Las Vegas like that, but he's got a lot of leverage. He's got a lot of say, so he could do a lot of business contracts and business agreements. And Floyd has expanded out of boxing into many different aspects of business worldwide. And you got to give him his props for that. You know, he started off with boxing and he's doing many other things as an entrepreneur. Manny Pacquiao, of course, being a politician and so on. But even Manny Pacquiao takes a lot of punishment. Hopefully he knows when to leave the game. Leave the game while you're on top. You know, if I was Manny Pacquiao, I would stop, I would take this fight here or whatever other fight it has, 2 more fights, and then I'm done. I'm out of the game. I get out of the game. As much as I'm passionate and enjoy it, I can always do it as exhibition fights or something. But other than that, I think I've got to get out of the game. So that's what I hope Pacquiao does while he's got all his faculties and while he's moving and doing 100 million things. I hope that he gets out of the game before the game retires him, because a lot of fighters, man, they always let the game retire them. You know? Look at Adonis Stevenson, man. He got badly damaged, badly hurt. Didn't know when to call it a day. And the game had to retire him from the sport. And luckily for him, he has his life. He has some of his faculties, etc. So, I mean, it's a young man's sport. When you get to your 40s or your 30s, your late 30s, just be ready to get out of the game. Shawn Porter's almost ready to get out of the game. Got a couple more people to fight and then get out the game. You know what I'm saying? And, this is the kind of thing that I think about. Me being an older guy and trying to enter the game, even if it's not permanently, just for 1 or 2 fights. This is why what appeals to me with KSI versus Logan. And that fight it's appealing to me because these guys are not probably going to have a career in boxing. But, So I got to do some predictions for you guys, so I'm going to get that in the next video. But until then, just wanted to say that Andrew Ward retires from the sport of boxing and stays retired. I'm so happy for him. I'm proud for him. I hope that he keeps to his word and stays retired all the way through. He has a promising future, not only in boxing, but also in announcing for boxing, but in announcing for sports in general. So I look forward to seeing more of Andrew Ward. SOG, Son of God. Kudos to him. Props to him. I'm so happy. This man has his head on. You guys have a great one. Afro-American Thought says, I heard Andre staying out of the sport, but I believe he will come back. I'm going to say this, African-American Thoughts. I'm not looking forward to him coming back. Once retired, stay retired. Floyd was retired a couple times from the sport of boxing, and he came back. The first time, I think, was when he came back against Emmanuel Burton. And then the second time I know of is when he left the sport after Ricky Hatton win and came back with Marquez. Quite frankly, I do not want that to happen with Andrew Ward. His word should be his bond. So if he says he's leaving the sport of boxing, he's done. Don't let the sport draw him back in. For no payday, no one-time event. Don't let the sport draw him back in. He's good financially and otherwise. He don't have to fight another day in his life. His career is settled. And so I hope that he stays out of the fucking sport of boxing. I don't care how much the fans try to egg him on. The fans will not be there for you if you get damaged or injured. They're not there for him with his injuries that he's tending to now. They're not going to be there for you. So Floyd has a lot of injuries himself. The fans never paid for nothing. and his injuries. Yeah, they paid him in terms of pay-per-view numbers, but fans ain't care about you right now. They don't care about Floyd. They don't care about nobody right now. They're on to the next. The fans right now, they're talking about Canelo. They're talking about Errol Spence. They're talking about Terrence Crawford. They're talking about Lomachenko. They're talking about Gervonta Davis. They're talking about Devin Haney. They're talking about Regis Prograis. They're talking about Naoya Inoue. They're talking about Nonito Donaire. They're talking about everything else but Floyd Mayweather. They don't care about him. Okay? They talk about Manny Pacquiao. They talk about Canelo Alvarez. They talk about Kovalev. They don't even care about Kovalev. I still want to know if Kovalev's okay, 100% okay. I haven't seen anything about Kovalev for the last couple of times. Oh, I'm glad he got a good payday though. So we'll find out what's going on with Kovalev. But by and large, at the end of the day, don't let no fucking fans egg you on into something that you shouldn't be getting into. You say you retired, you don't need to come back. And Andrew Ward don't need to come back. As far as I know, he's not lacking for money. He's good. He's got a nice good job also with ESPN. He's good. He's good for the rest of his life. So, he don't need to come back. He don't need to come back and box at all. It's a new era of boxing. You can see the turnover with the new breeds. The old breeds are almost gone. So the only last fossil left is Manny Pacquiao. And he got to get his ass out of the sport of boxing as soon as possible. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him hurt. So at the end of the day, this is what it is. And the sport is, like you said, the sport is not forgiving. You don't play fucking boxing. Anyway, I got to get out of here, people. I got still some predictions to put down. I'll put down the predictions and I'm going to get out of here. Let me just get the predictions for you guys in the next video. Peace to you guys. Check me out in the next video. I'll be back. Peace.